Good day everyone, I am Althea May and we are the group. Our intended learning outcome of this topic is by the end of this lesson, students will be able to explain how socialization shapes the development of the social self through interactions, roles, and cultural influences. Describing classical and contemporary theories of the social self, including the contributions of Mead, Cooley, Goffman, and the others. Reflect on how social comparisons, group affiliations, and media influence self-concept and identity formation in everyday life.
So good day everyone, I am Russell Sonyosiki. So the development of the self is deeply rooted linked to the process of socialization, the interactive process through which individuals term the values, norms, behaviors, and rules expected of their society. Socialization is more than a sample transmission of knowledge. It is a transformative process that shapes one's self-concept or the conscious awareness of having a unique identity, separate from others. As George Herbert Mead stated, that self is developed through interaction. There are two populations in this world, you and others. And it is through engaging with those others that the social self formed. This subject examined the idea of the social self using classical theories to illustrate how identity is created through relationship, culture, and personal experiences. So as a BSHM student, I think it is essential to understand this in the context of our industry, our professional self, service-oriented, adaptable, and cultural sensitive.
Shaping the social self. The social self is a product of continuous interaction between the individual and their environment. From a sociological lens, the self is not innate or biologically determined. It is a social construct that develops through relationships, roles, and symbolic communication. This process begins with primary socialization, where family acts as first sculptor, instilling foundation values and behaviors. As individuals enter the school and community life, they encounter diverse perspectives, learn cooperation, and refine the social skills. Mead's theory of the self distinguishes between two components. The me internalizes the attitudes and expectations of society, the reflective, regulated self. The T, the spontaneous, creative responses to social situations, the source of innovation and individuality. Together, these elements allow for self-regulation, role-taking, and identity negotiation. Theoretical foundations of the social self. John Locke proposed the idea of the mind as a tabula rasa, a blank slate shaped entirely by experience. Charles Cooley introduced the looking glass self, where individuals form their self-image based on how they believe others perceive them. George Herbert Mead emphasized role-playing and symbolic interaction as key to developing self-awareness and social identity. Irving Goffman likened social life to a theatrical performance where individuals manage impressions through front stage and backstage behaviors. These theories collectively underscore that the self is shaped through reflection, performance, and feedback from others.
Hello everyone! Let's discuss this snippet on modern influences and identity complexity. In today's society, our sense of self is made more complex by factors like social comparison, being part of the groups, and media exposures. Fistinger's 1954 social comparison theory tells us that people assess themselves by looking at others. This process can have two effects. It may motivate us towards growth, or it could lead to feeling of self-doubt or self-comparisons to others. This passage explains how membership in a group helps builds a person's sense of pride and belonging, but it is also shapes their identity through shared norms and achievements. It also discusses how labels and stereotypes can affect person's self-esteem and behavior, especially when they repeated often. In today's digital age, social media allows people to create online personas that may mix their real and ideal selves. Lastly, consumer culture influence identity by giving symbolic meaning to possessions, making them extensions of who we are.
The social self is not a finished product. It's a lifelong sculpture, continuously shaped by family peers, institutions, and culture. It is a dynamic interplay between how we see ourselves and how others see us, between our spontaneous expressions and our socially regulated behaviors. Understanding this process empowers individuals to reflect on their identity, navigate social roles with awareness, and embrace evolving nature of selfhood.
Identity in HM is not fixed. It is shaped by feedback, role, expectations, and cultural norms, from Colley's Looking Glass Self to Goffman Dramaturgy. The theories affirm that HM students must learn to manage impressions, regulate emotions, and balance authenticity with professionalism. This means mastering the front stage of guest service while protecting the backstage of personal well-being.
Research says, role of shared identity kapwa in forgiving others, a collectivist approach and understanding forgiveness by Darwin Sirungduen, Teresita Tirungduen, and John Ray B. Acapio, 2020. Sinasabi dito na the deeper the relationship, the higher the tendency to forgive. Meaning, mas madaling magpatawad ang mga taong may mas malalim na relasyon sa isa't isa. This is because a profound relationship make forgiveness easier, hindi lang sa kung anong nagawa. This decision is multi-layered, requiring examinations in both micro and macro levels. It's a complex process influenced by our connections and culture. That's all. Thank you.